More than just business news, we're news for business people.
Watch us live in conversation with Ramdev Agrawal as we talk about the power of price.
Market is very, very competitive, and now there is a FI market, there is a DI market, and the bucket is same. What is the right price? I mean, at what price you should buy, and how do you tackle this overvaluation, the problem of overvaluation right now? Should you avoid buying?
Watch us live in conversation with Ramdev Agrawal on the 7th of November at 11 a.m. as we talk about the power of price in the process of investing. Send in your queries using the hashtag AskBQ to BloombergQuint.com. Write to us now. Use the word Ramdev in all your queries.
The 500 rupee and 1000 rupee currency notes will no longer be legal tender from midnight onwards.
On the 8th of November 2016, the Government of India announced that 500 and 1000 rupee notes would be invalidated. Overnight, 86% of the currency in circulation was cancelled. The goal? To deal a financial blow to the black economy. A year later, was it all worth it? Watch the demonetization experiment on the 8th of November with Ira Duggal, only on Bloomberg Quint.
Good morning, you're watching Daybreak on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Alex Matthew. First, let's look at the headlines this Monday morning. Asian markets open mixed as focus shifts to US President Donald Trump's 11-day visit to the region. As many as 714 Indians are named in a new set of data leaks called the Paradise Papers, dealing with offshore accounts often used to avoid taxes. More than 20 people are dead after a gunman opens fire inside a church in Texas on Sunday. 11 Saudi princes and scores of senior businessmen and government officials are arrested in what is seen as the Saudi Arabia's biggest fight against corruption. And Unicem's chairman and managing director says nearly 50% of the 3,600 crore rupee deal with Torrent Pharma will go to the minority shareholders. Let's remind you of what happened on Wall Street on Friday. It was a strong close. The Nasdaq Composite rose 0.7% to an all-time high. The S&P 500 also finished at a record, gaining 0.3%, with the technology sector as the leading advancer. The Dow and the S&P 500 posted their 8th straight weekly gain on Friday. Now, news of another mass shooting coming in from the United States. As many as 26 people were killed and over 20 injured during the mass shooting at a Texas church on Sunday. A man dressed in black tactical style gear and armed with an assault rifle opened fire inside the church on Sunday. The governor has called it the deadliest mass shooting in the state's history. The assailant has been identified as a resident of San Antonio suburb and doesn't appear to be linked to any organized terror groups, according to reports. Let's take a look at the Asian markets now. And the Asian markets have opened mixed. The Nikkei is up in early trade as much as 0.4%, while the last time I checked, the Australian benchmark and the one in South Korea were trading lower. Now, just a little information of what happened in the Middle East over the weekend. At least 17 high-profile Saudi Arabians, including senior princes, current and former government ministers and businessmen, were arrested by security forces on the orders of King Salman. Among those detained were the billionaire Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, whose publicly traded investment vehicle owns sizable stakes in Citigroup, Twitter, Apple and Lyft, to name just a few. The arrests are seen as a move against corruption, but they're also seen as easing the ascension of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to the throne. Let's move to the Indian markets now, and Darshan Mehta and Agam Vakil are here to set us up for the day's trade and all that's happened in the futures and options space. Darshan, morning. First to you. What's on your list?
Good morning, Alex. Let's first take a look at the SGX Nifty to give an indication of probably how we will open. The last time I saw it was down almost 8 points. It's managed to double that from 8 points to 17 points. So it will be a rather muted. There's still time to go for our markets to open. So a slight negative opening, or you don't expect any fireworks in opening. Some of the ADRs that you have to watch out for. Tata Motors ended up 2%, but there was selling that was seen in Vedanta and Dr. Reddy. So these are the counters that were down in trade. As far as crude is concerned, for the third day in a row, crude is up. On Friday, surprisingly, crude was up almost at 2.5%. So WTI, Brent, both of them doing well. Brent is trading much above the $62 barrel per mark, and WTI now nears the $56 barrel per mark. So there is enough traction on the crude side. As far as base metals are concerned, zinc, copper and tin ended lower by anywhere between 0.5% to 1.2%, and this was on closing basis on the LME. The other metals, that is aluminium, nickel and lead, were up almost anywhere between 0.5% to 1% on an LME. So basically it was mixed closing, so some of them gained, some of them didn't gain on the LME. Positive start by COMEX Copper in morning trade currently. As far as base metals are concerned in China currently, it's very muted currently. There's no fireworks that are happening. But steel is doing extremely well. Steel is up almost 1%. Rubber is trading muted in current trade, but rubber is still trading with a positive bias. As far as gold is concerned, gold is trading lower for the second straight day in a row. Now, as far as fund flows are concerned, FI has actually sold in almost 900 crores in the cash market. As far as the DIs are concerned, they bought in almost 34 crores in the cash market. So that's the view that's coming in as far as fund flows are concerned. As far as the sectors are concerned, the Nifty PSU Bank and Media surged anywhere between 2.4 to 3% in trade. As far as the Nifty Pharma is concerned, that was one of the worst performers. That was down over 1% in trade. What contributed to the Nifty? Basically, SBI, L&T, Tata Motors did well. Private Bank, IndusInd Bank was the one contributor. But Pharma and certain IT names had a weak name. So Sun Pharma, HCL Tech had a weak day. So overall, it was muted. But we ended up almost 30 points on the Nifty. But what's the FNOQ like, Agam?
Well, the Nifty inched up higher, currently at around 10,450. Well above the mark of 10,400, which is crucial. But what's happened in futures, as you can see, we've seen further accumulation in open interest up as much as 2.5%, at least as far as the Nifty futures go. When it comes to the Nifty Bank, again, the index itself has moved up by as much as nearly 1%, but breaking the long streak of unwinding in Bank Nifty, we are now looking at an increase in open interest in Bank Nifty as well. Moving on, we can also take a look at the India VIX, which is now below the mark of 12. So this will be a positive, at least as far as the near-term bulls are concerned. When it comes to Nifty put call ratio, that continues to edge up higher, now standing at around 1.54. But in terms of changes in options open interest, as you can see, the most active ones are very far from these current levels. So you have the 10,800 call, and well, the 10,000 put is seeing some substantial amount of writing. However, it's going to be the 10,400 mark which will be the most crucial, at least as far as today's day of trade is concerned, whether or not we defend it. But in terms of some stock futures, we're watching out for Arvind, which has seen fresh longs building in. As you can see, 28% increase in OI there. And towards the short side, Power Grid stands up, 10% added, even while shorts were seen with the stock moving down by as much as to 2.4%. But Alex, I think today's day of trade again will be about the Nifty and whether or not it holds on to 10,400.
Absolutely, and we'll watch out for that mark. But as of now, let's take a check of the rupee and the bond market. And Saloni Dhanuka is here to give us just that. Saloni, morning.
Good morning, Alex. So talking about the Indian rupee, it strengthened at 64.55 levels against the US dollar and ended at a fresh 6-week high on Friday. And the home currency capped its biggest weekly gain in over 3 months on the back of abundant foreign inflows and optimism that the Fed will only raise interest rates gradually. Now, India's foreign exchange reserves fell by $1.1 billion and stood at $398.76 billion for the week ended 27th October. Now, it is according to the data released on Friday, post-market hours. On the global front, the dollar index traded higher at 94.85 levels despite weaker than expected non-farm payrolls data as the markets continue to cheer the tax reform policies announced by the government. Coming back home, dollar rupee is trading at 64.70 levels against the US dollar in the non-deliverable forward market, which indicates a weaker opening for Indian rupee in today's trade. Now moving in, bonds dropped for the third week as yields rose as much as 5 basis points this week. However, talking specifically on Friday, the 10-year benchmark yields ended flat at 6.86%. And finally, overseas funds, that is global funds, added to Indian rupee debt holdings for the 9th consecutive session on Friday. They infused close to 21 crores according to NSDL data. Alex.
Thanks for that, Saloni. And let's look at the stock of the day that's likely to be in focus today. Ceylon Exploration Technology posted a strong set of numbers for the September quarter with higher sales and operational efficiencies, leading to a 36% jump in profits. That's on a sequential basis. Nikki Mirchandani has all the details. Nikki?
Hi Alex, the revenue has grown for the stock as much as 15% in this quarter at around roughly 17 odd crore as compared to a base figure of 15 odd crore. Net profit has risen 36% at 4.62 crore as compared to 3.6 crore in the corresponding quarter of the sequential basis. EBITDA has risen 56% at 6 crore versus 4.2 crore, 3.8 crore seen in the previous quarter. Margins have expanded at 34% as compared to 25% earlier, and on a YOY basis also the stock has performed really well. Net profit has risen as much as 97% at 4.6 crore as compared to 2.3 crore figure in the corresponding quarter. EBITDA has risen as much as 161% at 5.8 crore. So what goes behind the making of these numbers? Well, higher sale and operational efficiency have led to a good bottom line growth of the company. Besides that, we've seen a decline in hydrocarbon development expenses as much as 68% on sequential basis, which have led to this operational efficiency. Also, we are seeing a lower other expenses, a decline of nearly around 13 odd percent to 1.81 crore in the quarter has also aided the operational performance of the company. Just to give a background, a little detail about this company, it's a oil exploration and a development company with a market capitalization of around 400 odd crore, Alex.
Thanks for that, Nikki. And Torrent Pharma has agreed to buy the domestic business of Unichem, one of India's oldest drug manufacturers. Darshan Mehta outlines the contours of the deal and what it means for both Torrent and Unichem. Darshan?
See, the deal has finally happened. It's happened on a slump sale basis of the domestic and the Nepal business for Unichem at a consideration of 3,600 crores. This is much higher than any media reports. So the media reports were anywhere between 3,200 to 3,500. So it's a good deal. Now, if you're looking at it, the EV EBITDA multiple for this entire deal comes to close to almost 12 times on FY19 basis. Torrent itself is trading at 14 times. So for Torrent, it's a good acquisition. They haven't actually outspent anything. What's the benefit that of this entire deal? First of all, the revenue overlap between Torrent Pharma and Unichem Labs was only 28%. Majorly, it was in the CNS segment, which is 13% of Unichem sale. Now, the combined entity, what Torrent will get, will move into the top 10 companies of the Indian pharma market. Field force productivity will improve significantly post the acquisition by Torrent. Cross-selling is an opportunity that could happen. Torrent can take price hike in one of the key drug, losartan, and the balance sheet for Torrent is extremely healthy. They can take in such an acquisition, and they have the track record to do it. Individually, what it means for Unichem shareholders, they can expect to be rewarded. The management said that they will be rewarded either by a dividend or a buyback or something else, but that's the only trigger now. If they want to stick with Unichem, you'll have to stick with the lower margin, probably loss-making, international business, which will grow over the next few years. But for Torrent Pharma shareholders, it's extremely positive. It strengthens its position in therapies and entry comes into the OTC segment. The deal will be accretive in FY21 as per the management, and it strengthens the position into the anti-hypersensitive market. For Torrent, they have the history to turn around companies. So this deal is beneficial for Torrent Pharma shareholders also. But what does the management have to say on this entire deal? We spoke to the management of Unichem Labs, and this is what they had to say. Shareholders want. What are they going to get now?
Well, obviously they are going to get
dividend.
Well, you know what it is, that once there is a slump sale, you have to pay the tax, then the company has the proceeds. Those proceeds get divided, in my case, only into two things. One, developing the second business, which I think has great opportunity, and whatever is not required will be returned to the shareholders.
So what's the, so how much you're getting 3,600 crores? I'm sure you have the calculations at the back of your mind, because without that you wouldn't get into this deal. So there'll be a tax, let's say 20% or whatever.
I can just cut you short by saying more than 50% of what we are able to retain will be given back to the shareholders.
Is there a potential that you would look to sell your international business also at a later?
See, today if I wanted to sell, I should have sold the whole thing, right?
Yes.
I feel there is still a lot of value to be unlocked in my international business. That's why I'm prepared to take the sort of situation wherein I have confidence that I can build that up. That's why I'm not talking of doing anything right now. Let me build some value, then we'll see.
You are confident that it will be closed by the end of the year?
That's the intention on both sides. But you know, there's always an issue in terms of anything can happen. The good part about this deal is there are no regulatory approvals involved.
Now, Reliance Communications' debt restructuring plan seems to have hit a roadblock. According to Bloomberg Quint sources, lenders are not keen on the plan in its current form. Vishwanath Nair has the entire report.
The Anil Ambani-led Reliance Communications' new resolution plan, debt resolution plan, is likely to not get approval from its lenders. What is the reason? Well, the reason is this, that the conversion rate at which the company wants the banks to convert debt to equity is too high. What the bankers are saying is that the stock is not worth that much, and possibly you could reduce that so that the amount of debt that is being converted into equity could come down. Apart from this, the plan also does not detail how the company is going to achieve its asset monetization plan. Now, if you remember, the plan which was submitted on the 30th of October said that the company would monetize about 10,000 crore worth of land parcels and 17,000 crore worth of other assets which Reliance Communications owns. However, the company did not provide to the lenders any details on how exactly it was going to sell this, who exactly it was going to sell this, and when these sales would be completed. The lenders have asked the company to go back to the drawing board, come back with a better and a reworked plan, and call for a second meeting sometime later this month so that they can be convinced. Now, remember that before December 2017, the lenders have to convert their debt into equity under the strategic debt restructuring norms. Apart from this, they also have a standstill. The ARCOM, the company, also has a standstill on its account classification till December 2018. So it cannot be classified as an NPA for at least one full year. The banks want this to be resolved before that so that they don't have to provide a lot against ARCOM, which has a debt of approximately 45,000 crore.
Now, Reliance Nippon Asset Management Company will make its Dalal Street debut today, making it the country's first asset management company to get listed. Samit Sarkar is standing by with all the details. Samit, the IPO definitely received a very good response when it was open for subscription.
Yes, I did say a very good response. Now, the Reliance Nippon raised around 1,542 crore rupees at a share price of 252 rupees per share. Now, the issue was subscribed around 81.5 times, with most of the demand coming in from HNI subscribers. The QIB portion was subscribed 118 times, while HNI 209 times, and retail subscribers just 5.6 times. Now, the street is expecting a premium of around 40 to 45 rupees per share, which indicates a listing gain of close to 18%. So, let's see how the valuations stack up on listing. At the issue price of 252, the market cap would be close to 15,400 crore, while price to earnings would be 38.4 times, and market cap as a percentage of asset under management, which is one of the important metrics for an asset management company, would be close to 4%. Now, at 275, the market cap would be 16,800 crore, price to earnings at 41.8, and market cap as a percentage of AUM at 4.5. And at 300, the market cap would be 18,300 crore, price to earnings at 45.6, and market cap as a percentage of AUM at 4.8. Now, are these valuations expensive? No, because these are still cheaper when compared to the valuations at which its promoter Nippon Life bought stake. Now, Nippon Life bought stake in Reliance Nippon in 3 different stages at a valuation of 6.6, 5.6 and 5.6. Now, Reliance Nippon is the 3rd largest asset management company in India. The first two are ICICI Pru and HDFC AMC. Now, Reliance Nippon has a market share of close to 11.4%. 4%, and its asset under management is close to 3,84,000 crore as of August 2017. Now, if we see the financials of Reliance Nippon's revenue and net profit grew at a compounded annual growth rate of 21% and 15% over FY13 to FY17, which is at a slower rate when compared to ICICI Pru and SBI funds, but at par with HDFC AMC. Now, if we see the return ratios of Reliance Nippon, it is subdued when compared to all its peers. Now, ICICI Pru's return on equity is almost 3 times that of Reliance Nippon, while return on capital employed of ICICI Pru is close to 4 times that of Reliance Nippon. Also, when compared to HDFC AMC and ICICI Pru, the return ratios are subdued for Reliance Nippon.
Right. Thanks, Somit, for that. And Somit will be back around listing to tell you more about how that stock is going to do over the course of the day. Well, Shraddha Babla joins us with the stocks in news. Shraddha, which are the stocks that will be at the center of action today?
Morning, Alex. To start off with Reliance Communications, where according to an ET report, Brookfield Infrastructure has called off the earlier pact with RCom that was worth about $200 million. Now, this deal was said to be banking upon RCom's merger with Aircel, which was called off about 2 months ago. So, Brookfield also has called off its deal with RCom. You have Oricon Enterprises, which is looking to sell 51% stake in the packaging business of its subsidiary Oriental Containers, and that will be for about 420 crores. So you could see some reaction there. Mercator has said that it will sell one of its vessels for a consideration of about $3.42 million. That's close to 22 crore rupees. Now, this transaction is expected to be completed by 15th November, and the company has said that they would use the proceeds from this sale to repay debt. You also have Sadbhav Infrastructure, which has said that they've achieved financial closure for all of its 7 hybrid annuity projects. VRL Logistics, now we were expecting, they had made an announcement with respect to buyback. Now they've announced the buyback price at 460, and this compares to Friday's closing price of just about 375. So some reaction could be seen there apart from the earnings as well. Mahindra & Mahindra has said they would consider the issuance of bonus shares on November 10th when they declare their earnings. And lastly, according to a Times of India report, Manoranjan Roy, the chairman of Pincon Spirits, has been arrested in a 56 crore investment fraud case. So we could see some reaction there as well. So Alex, all of these stocks where we could see some interest in trade today.
Right, and do log on to the website for all the details on all you need to know. That's one of the stories that we put out. You'll find all the details that we've spoken about so far and a lot more besides. But Somit Sarkar's standing by with the big brokerage calls of the day. Somit, what do you have for us?
So on brokerage, today we have is Bank of America Merrill Lynch initiating coverage on ICICI Lombard. Now they have initiated a coverage with a buy rating and a target price of 810, which suggests a potential upside of 20% on the general insurance company. Now the general insurance company has a strong potential for profitable growth, as market has still not priced in the under-penetrated insurance market and the regulatory catalyst which could work in favor of ICICI Lombard. Now the new motor insurance guideline, that is the regulatory catalyst, may act as a significant catalyst for the motor insurance segment, which accounts for nearly 57% of the net premiums earned by the company. Now, the profitability from third-party motor insurance could improve and may positively impact the EPS of the EPS of ICICI Lombard by around 30 to 45%. Now, the ICICI Lombard is trading at premium valuations, and these premium valuations could sustain as the investment yield and the return ratios for the company are superior not only to the regional players but also to the global players. And going forward, strong fundamentals, solid financial metrics and penetrated distribution are the positives for the company.
Thanks for that, Somit. Now, you've already logged on here. I'm sure that you're going to log on over the course of the day to Bloomberg Quint Live for all the live market action. But you really should log on to the website bloombergquint.com. There are a lot of stories that you'll find there. Here are just a few of them. Mobile advertising firm InMobi has said that it's not in a rush for an IPO. The company, which is India's first privately held billion-dollar startup, has turned profitable nearly a decade after inception. InMobi will start prepping for the IPO in the coming 2 years. Naveen Tiwari, who's a co-founder and CEO of InMobi, said that in an interview to Bloomberg Quint. Now, Air India is in advanced discussions with SBI for the sale of at least 2 residential properties that could net nearly 50 crore rupees. The attempt by the airline is to sell non-core assets, and that's happening at the same time when the government is looking for a strategic stake sale. Now, nearly 25 years after ONGC's Prime discovered oil fields were privatized, the Oil Ministry has identified 11 more producing oil and gas fields of the state-run firm for handing over to private firms to raise output. The ministry is approaching the cabinet to allow private companies to take 60% stake in producing oil and gas fields of national oil companies, that's ONGC and OIL. That's with a view that they should raise the production above the baseline estimate. Now that brings us to the end of this edition of Daybreak. All you need to know is up next. Do stay tuned, and thanks for watching Bloomberg Quint.
Watch us live in conversation with Ramdev Agrawal as we talk about the